more expensive, and that is what is durable and that will serve you because it does not hurt. But the other one that is, I will call it steel, that is still in the market, or this one could burn someone's building, someone's house. It could set it on fire. So copper is expensive, but that is the appropriate and the required, material for wires in buildings, in buildings and structures. So copper wire, make sure that you get the best you can in the market, even talking about other electrical installations, your sockets and all that. And again, when you are, I'm just trying to rush because of time. So when you are plugging in your electrical appliances, we have some high-rated electrical appliances. For instance, the heaters or your electric kettles and all that. Don't plug them to extension wires. Plug them directly to wall sockets, the source. So that is about that. And make sure that in your house, try to replace every faulty installation, electrical installation, or every faulty gadget. Don't try to manage them, because you never can tell what will happen. In our houses also, our children, those of us that have little children around, make sure you keep away these ignition sources like matches, lighters, and others, away from them where they cannot access them, in order to avoid maybe one day before you come out, you hear that your house is on fire, or fire has gutted your house. God forbid. It's not our prayer, it's not our portion, but we want to be proactive and we want to do everything possible to avoid all these things. That is why the knowledge you are getting from all these things, I know you have been doing it, you have done this in the past, but there's need. It is advisable, and we encourage people, advise you to do it annually, at least once. Even some do it twice a year, but at least once annually, to keep, people in remembrance of what they should do. Because the main purpose of this simulation and these drills and everything is to, get people prepared against fire emergency. Anywhere they are, in their homes, in their offices, in the church, anywhere, get them prepared. Raise their level of preparedness. And let me comment on this before I proceed. Fire simulation like these drills are not usually by standard. They are not usually announced to. I'm surprised that you announced it. They are not usually announced. The people that should be aware of it is the management, like the church board or the key people that are going to organize it. Other is not usually, because it is usually taken, it is usually regarded. It is usually, regarded as a real life emergency. It is you, because when you have something, the knowledge of something, you hear about as this thing is going to take place, it will give you a kind of relief. You say, after all, this is not a real emergency, a kind of something like that. That's why it is not usually announced. It is done because fire does not give notice before it breaks out. It does not give notice to anybody. So that is why people are taken, unawares in these simulations. So next time, please don't expect that it will be announced to you. Praise the living God. So now we have classes of fire from class A to A, B, C, D, and we have F. Class A. So those ones you may not have, the ones we refer to as free combustibles. We have class B, flammable liquids, the C, flammable gases. We have the metal fires, and we have F, about cooking oils, grease and all that, and deep fries. So because of time will fail me to explain more on this. Now we have prevention, as I have enumerated. I've listed out some preventive measures that you need to take anywhere you are, in the houses and everything. Don't keep any ignition source close to a combustible material, close to combustible in the house. In those days, you see some people, they light candle. When candle was still in use, they would place it on top of a wooden object, or even close to some, place it on a table where there are books. Also, the table is wooden, the books, papers, everything combustible, all those free burning materials. So if anything happens and that candle has to maybe turn and fall, or this, so you'll not be surprised that everything, that's fire. Now, so we need to prevent all these things. Even in your cars, you need to be attentive. You know, maintenance, this maintenance culture of a thing is what we know that most of us Nigerians, we lack maintenance culture. It is very good for us to you know, acquaint ourselves with all this and be maintaining our things. Even in your car, pay attention to the faults, especially electrical faults in the car. Praise the living God. Now, fire protection. I'm rushing. Fire protection, we have what we call passive protection, and we have active protection. When you are building your house, even the partitioning, I mean the walls and everything, these are part of passive protections in the house. And again, if you can afford it, we advise you can use some fire retardant materials to build your house. What I mean by fire retardant materials are those materials that can withstand heat. They can withstand fire for some time. You know, because you cannot say for so long, because every material, even steel, even what happens in the blast furnace, even steel will yield when you subject it to a very high temperature, like up to 2,000 degrees Celsius. It must melt. Praise the living God. You know what fire, the story of Sodom and Gomorrah in the Bible, you know how the city was, just everything was consumed to ash, burned to ashes. You know the story of Elijah's sacrifice during a challenge between him and the prophets of Baal. Even the stones, Bible says the stones were consumed. So that is why when God says I'm a consuming fire, or the Bible tells us that God is a consuming fire, you know what it means. So anything that is subjected to very high temperature will yield. You may think that the blocks, you know, all these blocks we use to build house, blocks does not burn. Yes, block does not burn, but if you subject them to fire for about 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, the thing weakens the bond of that material of the block. That is why any building, you know, any structure that God burnt, go and try touching the wall or the block or this. You see how the thing will, if you touch it, the thing will just be melting. It's just like that because the bond has been weakened by fire. This is what fire does. So these protective measures in the house, they used to protect if peradventure fire breath out. These things will help to protect. Now, coming to active measures, I'm talking of passive measures. Those things that are, you incorporated when you are building your house, you incorporated them. Now, coming to active measures are when you put in place all these fire equipments, all these tools, instruments like fire extinguishers, all these smoke alarm or detectors, all these, we have, sprinkler system. Those are automatic, suppression systems. You have FM200, the one you have your alarm bell, and that will signal you. So if there's a smoke, the thing will pick it and signal. You hear the alarm that, yes, something is happening. Then you go and arrest it. So fire extinguisher is the tool. So these are active protective devices. And we call them, you need to have all these things in the house. Not that you are praying for it to happen, but you are preparing. You are being proactive. Prepare in case the thing happens, because there's no 100% assurance that it will not happen. It doesn't give notice. It doesn't sound alarm. So in case it happens, you know that you have something to take care of it. Now, that is about fire protection. Now, fire extinguisher, when we go out there, I will talk on how to operate fire extinguishers and other things. Now, evacuation, talking about, evacuation, as we are here in this hall now, as we are here, when the alarm sounds, as you're evacuating, don't try to run, don't try to push the person in front of you. Just try to follow the person, gently follow the person. And not that you will run. You don't run and you don't walk majestically as if you are in your sitting room. No, because it's an emergency. So you don't run, but you don't walk majestically as if nothing is happening. So you be smart, you are walking out, you be smart so that you allow other people also evacuate the hall, the building. Now, that is about that. Now, when you evacuate, you are going to gather at a place, a space for the practical demonstration and drill, the fire drills. And this we call this one we are going to do from the auditorium evacuation drill. Now, when you discover fire, there are things you need to do. That is why we have what we call fire notice. We have fire action notice. What we call fire action notice. This is a kind of plate or template that, all the things you need to do when you discover fire are displayed there, are written there. Understand? You don't panic. Don't panic when you discover fire. Don't panic. Now, call fire service. Our numbers are everywhere. You have 0803 200 3557, or you have call the short code, the national one, 112, and they will redirect it to fire service. So call the fire service, and now try, if you have your fire extinguisher around, try to make use of it to extinguish that fire, because we call them first aid fire fighting equipment. First aid fire fighting equipment, you use them to arrest the fire at the start of that fire, at the incipient stage of that fire. You use these things so that the fire will not escalate, it will not grow. So that's the use of all these first aid firefighting equipment. You have your fire blanket in your kitchen. You have your fire blanket. Or in case there's fire, maybe your oil, you want to fry something and the oil catches fire, you use your blanket, to take care of that. Tackle it. Now, there are 3 methods of fire extinction. We call fire extinction methods. 3 methods of them. You have one, cooling. And cooling it takes care of the component of fire, heat. The heat component of fire. Cooling takes care of it. Now you have the one we call smoldering. Smoldering, the second one. Smoldering takes care of the oxygen component of fire. It cuts off the oxygen supply. And the third one, we have what we call starvation. And starvation now takes care of the fuel. That is when you, for instance, when you are cooking with firewood and your food that you are cooking is done. The food you are cooking is done, and the remaining firewood that have not burnt, you remove them from the distance and use water to, put out the fire. So this is called a kind of starvation method. You are starving the fire of its food, because when the fire doesn't see anything to burn, it will die. Now that is it. When you starve it of fuel, or you cut off the oxygen supply, because it's the oxygen that gives fire the strength to burn. Now, I will not end or conclude this very fire sensitization without talking about smoke and flame. When we talk about fire, smoke is very, very important for you to avoid, to consider. Smoke, there's what we call carbon monoxide. Carbon monoxide, smoke carries this carbon monoxide. And what this carbon monoxide does in human body is that it weakens your body. This is what kills. And you know that smoke travels faster than flame. Flame may not get to where somebody is, but smoke, for instance, somebody maybe put something on fire, and after the days, work, days, struggle, and here and there, the person gets tired, and maybe getting home, put something on fire, and say, let me sit down and at least wait for something I'm keeping that is on fire. Before you know it, the person says, okay, let me just lie down a bit, or this thing. Before you know it, the person will be carried away. He or she will sleep off. Now, that thing will be there on fire, dry, water will dry, continue burning. You see smoke coming, and this everywhere will be choked. That's the work of smoke. Smoke chokes in the room. So if that person inhales that smoke so much, the person will be weak, completely weak. Because what the smoke does, once this carbon monoxide enters the body, once you inhale this carbon monoxide, it goes into the system. The system that in our bloodstream, we have our red blood cells, the hemoglobin. And the hemoglobin, as we inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide, as we inhale all this oxygen, now the oxygen attaches itself to the hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the carrier, oxygen carrier that transfers oxygen, circulates oxygen around the body, that helps the body to be strong. All the parts of the body will be alive and be strong. Hemoglobin, once oxygen is attached to it, it becomes oxyhemoglobin. Now, when you inhale this CO, carbon monoxide, it becomes carboxyhemoglobin. And this carboxyhemoglobin will now, what we call asphyxiation. It will asphyxiate the blood, your system, of oxygen, meaning you are going to be weak. And when, okay, sir, I'm rounding up. Sir, when you inhale it, this smoke its half-life is about 3 hours. Before half of the quantity you will neutralize from your body and that. So, by what I've said, maybe outside there, we'll say more things about it. Now, as we are going to evacuate, during evacuation is emergency, all the exits has to be open. Apart from the one, here, all this side, all the exits, all the doors have to be opened. So leave them open as we conduct the evacuation. Praise the living God.
Come on, let's celebrate our brother. We don't have time for questions, but if you have questions, just write them down. We will try to respond through our platforms. But knowledge is power. We want you to be safe in your house and in the church. Let's celebrate them once again. And let's celebrate our sister, Dr. Mag Ajani. Today is her birthday, and she facilitated this. Thank you, sister, for all you do. We wish you many more long life. Let's stand together. Ushers, get ready so that all the doors are open as we go out for the drill. This week you are blessed. Your house is protected from fire. Nothing of yours shall be consumed by fire. The safety of God is your portion. You are covered. And now may the Lord go with you. May the Lord bless you and protect you. Let's share the goodness together. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of